Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we're going to be bullshitting about that little pink puff right over there. I am the Reverend.
The thing here.
Hey, Mouse One.
April 27th, 1992. In Japan, they released a game on the Game Boy called Hoshi no Kirby, or Kirby of the Stars. It was later released out in the States August of 1992 under this name right here, Kirby's Dream Land, which introduced us to pretty much, like I said, the pink puffball that's right behind me back there. Probably the most assuming, overpowered, amorphous character ever made to come from Nintendo. And the thing about Kirby is that when we first started up this channel, many, a year back, one of our first videos that we did was the 24th anniversary of Kirby as a character in games. In fact, if you look up here, or up here, depending on where the card is at, okay, we'll have a link to that channel, and you can see how bad we were. Not saying that we're much better right now, but how bad we were all the way back then. But one of the first videos that we went ahead and we put together was about Kirby and the fact that 24 years as a celebrated character in the video game industry, and miraculously, in our humble opinions, he's never been in a bad game. Even in the games where he's guest starred and cameoed spots in, tend to be really, really good. But enough about that. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little show and tell. We're going to give us a little bit of memories of our Kirby memories. We're going to run down like a few of the games in his list, his library, which is actually pretty fucking deep now that I look at the list. And then we're also going to go ahead and talk about where we would like to see the pink puffball next. Because to tell you the truth, up until recently, I thought that there was, until they actually get him hooked up with a guy from Katamari and he's like swallowing countrysides and planets and stars and other shit. Okay, just like the little Prince of all Cosmos rolls up land masses and stars and all of that other stuff. There really wasn't a lot of places that people thought you could go ahead and take Kirby until they made Planet Robobot. And it was like, hey, how do you make a really overpowered pink puffball cooler and funner to play? Give him a mechanized suit. All right, and that's how that turned out. But without further ado, I'm going to open up the floor, guys. What are your thoughts on this particular guy? Like I said, we've vehemently said multiple times on this channel, we don't think he's ever been in a bad game, and I stick to that wholeheartedly. I will defend that. I don't defend too many things in the video game industry, but I will defend that. Just to quit me from rambling on, what are your thoughts, guys? The floor is open. It's the 25th anniversary, April 27th, of Kirby in the video games.
Kirby sucks. Literally. Quite literally. Okay? First, he was the white puff on the Game Boy, Kirby's Adventure. Then he went from the pink puff. No, Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. And then on Kirby's Adventure, he went to the pink puff. Yeah. Kirby sucks. He sucks up enemies, he eats them, and on Kirby's Adventure, he started taking motherfuckers' powers. And he hasn't moved back from that. The pink puff, the pink Nintendo version of Majin Buu. This fucker, man. First of all, Kirby games are fun. If it's basically a adventure 2D type Kirby game, you're sure to have a good fucking time. But then there's Rainbow Curse, there's Canvas Curse, there's Triple Deluxe. For this thing, I mean, damn, man, had so much fun with Kirby. It's ridiculous. I mean, oh man, Gray Mouse, go ahead, bro. I mean, fuck.
What else is there to say? Yeah, Kirby.
In the Mega Maid way.
Well, sometimes you can make him glow.
He can do
yeah,
both.
he does.
Yeah, he can do both as well.
He sucks, he blows, he flies. I mean,
he swims.
As soon as he hits water, goggles appear. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Heck, he's even in the Mario Kart series. He fucking drives also, too. So, he fights.
He fights in melee.
Oh, you can suck up ninjas and he'll be fucking, or he'll have judo. I'm like, judo? You've got to be kidding me. Weapons? Fuck, dude. A wheel. How the fuck do you turn into a wheel and just drive and just go through motherfuckers? Like, damn, Kirby.
An iconic character, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, the game series, I'd have to say, you know, for action platformers and everything else, Kirby's Dream Land was pretty basic. What's funny about Kirby is that as it goes, the urban legend is that Kirby as a design actually the round body with eyes and the smiley face and stubby arms and feet, that was supposed to be a placeholder piece of artwork, okay? For a character that, you know, kind of like how the Adventures of Lolo, you would sit there, pick up blocks and push them around all over the place, because he was created by HAL Laboratories. They're the developers behind it. You know, instead of like picking up things and pushing them around, you know, they had this idea of a character that sat there, would inhale, you know, suck things up like a vacuum, and then spit them out at other enemies. And that was his primary power. It wasn't until Kirby's Adventure, like, you know, the theme said, that they actually started giving him the abilities where he would start absorbing the enemy's abilities, and then he could do certain things aside from that. You know, if he swallowed up an enemy with a sword, he had the sword available. You know, the spark power, the ray power, all the things, fireball, the wheel, and all of that. And this was really, really interesting in the fact that you know, you can actually pick up the powers and abilities from boss characters, which was absolutely great. Yeah, I think the first time I went ahead and I picked up like one of the wrestling bears or something like that, picked up the suplex power off of him. Absolutely awesome, you know. And what happened was that, you know, he went ahead. Kirby's Dream Land 2 came out after that, where they went back to like the more standard platforming and action platforming and everything else, like the first Kirby's Dream Land. But that's where they introduced his pals, which haven't shown up much anywhere past Kirby's Dream Land 3, which came out on the Super Nintendo. But that isn't to say that he didn't show up on the Super Nintendo.
Superstar.
Yeah, Kirby Superstar right here is actually kind of a retelling of Kirby's Adventure. All right. But they flesh out the powers and they fill it up with like crap load of mini games and everything else. This one right here, this is one of the few games that I bought out at release, full price and everything else. It's a great fucking game. The one that I miss on the Super Nintendo, actually, there's a few others on the Super Nintendo. There's Kirby's Dream Course and also Kirby's Dream Land 3, which is the hardest one to find because that one came out in 1998. That was already 2 years into like the Nintendo 64 being released. You know, and yeah, that one right there, that's the hard one to get. That's the one that I'm really looking for. You know, the funny thing is we're going to probably go down and try to run through the list of games as quickly as possible. I know you guys have been trying to keep up with like getting a hold of all the Kirby games. Which ones are the ones that you really wanted to get a hold of that you weren't able to? Aside from all of them. Or all the ones that you're missing.
Rainbow Curse, because I don't have a Wii U.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, I mean, Canvas Curse was for the DS. Awesome game. I want to try Rainbow Curse for that same fucking reason. Because it plays just like Canvas Curse. you're basically cursed. You're a fucking ball. You have no arms or legs. You can't do shit, and you have to draw fucking rainbows at the bottom in order for him to move, or draw it in a circle, or draw it backwards so you can, because Kirby constantly moves and you have to tap him in order to control him or to roll him into things, and you can actually take powers and shit like that. I want to try that on the Wii U. Someday, hopefully, I'll actually get a Wii U and I'll actually try that. But that's one game for Kirby that I've never played, and that's the one I would actually want to get and try.
What about you, Gray Mouse?
I want to try to get the one on the Game Boy, the original.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
yep.
Yeah.
Dreamland.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also want to try, like you said, the Rainbow Curse and the Canvas Curse.
Yeah, you have to try those two, at least one of them.
Yeah.
Because Canvas Curse was awesome, and then Rainbow Curse, I was like, oh, they put this portable one on here, and I gotta play it.
Yep. Yeah, it's what's funny about Canvas Curse and Rainbow Curse. You know how you don't exactly control Kirby through a conventional means. You have to sit there and you have to draw the bridges, and then you have to tap him because he's always moving forward. The funny thing about that was that that particular type of concept was actually tried previous to that on Kirby's Air Ride. Okay? Kirby's Air Ride is actually one of the first, one of the early GameCube games that was put out at the time. And you got to remember, the GameCube landed in between the GBA and the DS. This one right here is actually an air racing game. But the thing about it is that you don't actually control Kirby like standard. You don't do like the standard steering and stuff like that. He's just automatically, trying to stick to course, but then you alter his course while he's going along the trail by hitting buttons that'll make him do actions or jump along the way. So the funny thing is that they actually messed around with that idea in 3D before they brought it back to 2D. Mm-hmm. Where they first went ahead and decided to go ahead and bring Kirby out to 3D was on
64.
Yeah, Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. This one is actually pretty cool. The one thing that was pretty cool about 64 was that it gave you the option. Not only did they go ahead and revamp everything where it was like 3D environments and all of that, they still kept it as close as possible to kind of like a 2.5D platformer where like the gameplay really didn't change. You're still going left to right, but the stages would shift around and everything. But I believe in that one. That's the one where they started giving you the option to swallow up more than one power up, and you could hold one in reserve just in case. Oh, hey, look! If you know that later on in this stage that you got to a certain point and you couldn't access like a secret area, or maybe there was a particular ability that helped you defeat a boss character that was particularly hard. You had that ability that was left over in reserve. You could cough up the particular ability that you had at the time. You could activate the second one, and then you'd have that one to go ahead and fight out your battles or explore the rest of the level as it goes. Which brings up a question. Out of the Kirby games, what is the most memorable boss for you guys?
Memorable boss?
Yeah.
The fact that you can eat certain bosses and, like you said, and take their powers or take their weapons like a fucking mallet. I'm like, fuck, dude, you eat him and you take his mallet, and it's like, whoa, okay. Or you turn into fire, and you actually, like on Triple Deluxe, you actually need the fire in order to do certain things, like activate cannons.
Yep.
Bosses though, fuck, dude, that's a toss up because I like judo.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead, Grey Mouse. Come on. This is a video. You can speak too.
King Dedede, buddy.
King Dedede.
King Dedede.
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 Yeah.
And then, of course, Meta Knight.
Yeah, yeah. Meta Knight is awesome. I'd have to say that between the two, I'm probably a little bit more partial to Meta Knight for the fact that he's like the one character out of the whole Kirby universe that, you know, consistently gives Kirby an issue. And of course, you know, later on they went ahead, they pulled the whole Power of Friendship Dragon Ball Z thing. All right, and King DDD and Meta Knight became like his buddies to help him out with other games. You know, one of the games that actually happened with was let's see here. Is this the one that I'm looking for? Yeah, I think so. All right, there's let's see here. You know, Kirby went ahead and he ended up going through a whole bunch of different games. Let's see here. The one that became really that showed up where all of the bad guys ended up being his friends again was Kirby's Return to Dreamland. All right, which was on the Wii. I have this here, which is the 20th anniversary collection right here.
I remember I was there when you.
Yeah,
when you played that, when you first opened it up, I think, and you played that, and I'm like, they have a 20th anniversary.
Oh yeah, and this one is actually pretty good. I mean, this is actually one of the collections that are special editions that I'm really happy to have a hold of. See here, it's got
last game on the Wii.
It was one of the last. I don't think it was the last, but it was one of the last.
I think it was the last by Nintendo.
Yeah. On it, let's see here. It has Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land 2, Kirby Superstar, Kirby Dream Land 3, and also Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. That's what's on this one right here. So, but yeah, that's definitely one of them. I must have Kirby's Return to Dreamland actually on the shelf over there. This one I saw first, but yeah, that one right there is a great game where they sat there. They returned back to the kind of pseudo 2.5D gameplay and everything else. But yeah, along the way you have Meta Knight and King DDD. They've all become friends. I don't know what happened in the storyline along the way for that to go ahead and happen, but they all became friends, and they're helping Kirby actually help. It's not Olimar from from Pikmin, but it's another alien that goes ahead and crash lands into the area, onto the planet, and they're helping him gather up his parts to his ship so that he can go ahead and return home. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure I have Return to Dreamland and also let's see here, Kirby's Epic Yarn sitting over there on the shelf. So I just didn't look and find it. So. Yep. Oh. Yep. Yeah. But that's not to say that there was other games that were there also for the DS. You had Canvas Curse, like what was originally stated before, which is a great game. Kirby Squeak Squad, which is one that kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. But it's another DS game where, again, what they did, the big thing with that is that they kind of actually, that's the one where everybody turns into friends, because what happens is that the Rainbow Islands gets invaded by rats, and they take over King DDD's castle, and they steal all the food. All right, and that's the game that turned them all into friends. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, the third game on the DS was Kirby Mass Attack right here, which didn't control like a standard Kirby game. This is another one where they went out of their way to mess around with the controls. Basically, the way that this goes is that you sit there, you drag and drop and poke and tap Kirby in order to make him do a whole bunch of things. And it's not just one Kirby. You have like up to like 16 Kirbys on screen, okay? And then you would tap one of them to take one and control them. And if you're going through the level and there's a like a wall to go ahead and actually transverse over. You'd have to sit there, drag one, and toss them over the wall. Okay. The cool thing though is that you could literally pick up Kirby's and drag and toss them at enemies. So you can literally like have like 16 Kirby's all just gang rushing one enemy at a time, and they just be beating the crap out of them, you know. And that right there is actually a really fun game for the DS. If you haven't gotten a hold of it, let's see here. Going down the line, the rest of the games for Kirby that have actually come out, especially over the last few years. We went ahead and we mentioned Rainbow Curse on the Wii U, but 3DS, Kirby started out on the portable system. He thrives on portable systems, I think. First one for the 3DS was Triple Deluxe.
You got to play that regardless. Look, I'm going to just interrupt you right now.
Go ahead.
You have to play Triple Deluxe. People out there, ladies and gentlemen, play Triple Deluxe. That's a great fucking game. Hands down. It's great for the 3DS. I love the way that they did it. Hypernova. That's all I really have to fucking say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when they first introduced that particular type of ability was in I believe Return to Dreamland on the Wii, where they sat there, you'd hit the suck ability, and then you'd start shaking the Wiimote to go ahead and do the hyper. And then he would sit there and he would pick up like bigger objects. But with the Hypernova, he is literally sucking up pieces of the stage, the stages themselves, to go ahead and attack with and use it for power-ups. You know,
well, so sometimes you actually need to.
Yeah,
you have to get to the Hypernova, and you can't even fucking lose it.
Yeah,
you can't lose that ability until you complete the stage.
Yeah,
which is cool because you actually need it in order to face certain bosses. But to get the Hypernova, and next thing you know, you're sucking up everything that's in your way and parts of stages and shit like that. It's like, damn, seriously?
Exactly. It's great. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, you know, a lot of people say that as a character he's really overpowered. But guess what? Really interesting, especially with the creative ways that they've actually integrated that with stages and stage design and everything else. It's one of those things that with this particular character, one of the reasons why he's such a great character is that the developers behind the games have never stopped thinking about, okay, where do we go next? Now, you know, after Triple Deluxe and the Hypernova, you think, all right, you know, and like I said earlier, until he like hooks up with the guy, the prince of all cosmos from Katamari Damacy, and he starts, you know, sucking up land masses and stars and planets and stuff like that. You really don't think that there's not much more that they can go ahead and take them, you know, as far as creative directions go, right? That was until they put out Planet Robobot. Okay, so how do you make the most overpowered amorphous pink puffball that Nintendo has ever created more OP? You give them a fucking powered suit is what you do. All right. So it turns out that I guess Kirby is also a genius playboy philanthropist, inventor, like a certain other Marvel character, and yeah, he decides to go ahead and mess around with a powered armored suit. So yeah, this one right here, I've yet to go ahead and break open the seal on it, but I will soon. Once, actually, maybe not soon. Once I get through the rest of my backlog, which is behind me.
That will take years.
Yeah, but I'll get to it soon enough. All right, guys, we've already run through the list of main Kirby games. What are some of the games that he's cameoed in that you have grand thoughts of or have had fun with?
Kirby pinball, rather.
That's right. That's right.
Kirby,
just like Kirby's Dream Course on the Super Nintendo. You know, miniature golf. It's one of those things that fits. What about you, Theme? Any game out there that, you know, wasn't a mainline Kirby game, but Kirby was in it that you definitely enjoyed?
Kirby's Avalanche.
Yep.
In other words, look, Kirby's Avalanche or Kirby's Ghost Trap is basically Puyo Puyo. I mean, everybody should know what Puyo Puyo is right now, because there's Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's basically Puyo Puyo with Kirby and his characters in it.
Yep.
That's basically it. And of course, it's funny because before I even arrived in Japan, when I was in the Navy, I played that, so I knew what the fuck I was doing with that game before I even went overseas.
Yep.
And the soundtrack on that game was pretty good. But Kirby soundtracks are not bad at all.
Generally speaking, yeah. I'd have to say, what is it? It's the opening theme of most of the first stages for Dreamland.
First stage of Dreamland, yeah.
Dreamland and Adventure. I think it's Green Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one just
that sticks.
I don't even have to think about it and it gets stuck in my head, just bringing it up.
Well, what about when you complete a stage and he's dancing around? Yeah.
Yeah.
He bounces around and
yeah, that one sticks too. What about you, Grey Mouse? What else has stuck with you about Kirby over the last 25 years?
It's a great platforming game. I mean, they've always been. It's a lot of people don't think it's platforming, but it is. And I think I'm really thankful that how Laboratories made it.
Yep. I think, what, here's
a staple of Nintendo.
Definitely. I mean, and it's all right. Maybe it didn't come from the Nintendo first party guys, but it might as well be because he's been attached to most of the mainline characters and creativity. But if you're ever one of those folks who sat there and ever questioned us about whether or not, if we were bigger on gameplay or graphics, all right, these particular games right here, okay, this typifies fucking gameplay over graphics, all right? I don't give a fuck what you say. Oh, he's just a pink puffball. He's a round thing. There's rainbows and fucking Lucky Charms, stars and moons bullshit all over it. No, these games are fucking fun.
It's
all right?
funny because people would say that when I was in high school. Oh, these are pink. I was like, play the fucking games and shut up. Please play the fucking games. Because if you play the fucking games, then you'll have a different outlook. I mean, people say, oh, he's pink and you look at all the colors and stuff. I'm like, look, play the fucking game. What you can do alone speaks volumes for the game. It's just, as the Reverend said, gameplay.
Definitely. I mean, it's something that I know that we all harp on, it's just, it's definitely something that we want to go ahead and look, the reason why we love these games, the reason why we say that he's never been in a bad game is because he's never been in a bad playing game. That's the thing. Look, I understand. Maybe some of them are a lot easier than others, and these aren't the most difficult games in all the world. I will admit that, okay? But they're always fun, Was there anything else that we wanted to go ahead and add to this particular one or had to throw out there?
I wonder what they're going to do for Kirby for the fucking Switch. Please. Get a good ass Kirby for this system. Maybe
you know what?
Maybe E3.
You know what? I think one of the Kirby Advance games for the GBA games. Maybe I'm thinking of something else here. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm thinking of Wario Tilt.
They need to make another WarioWare as well, but that's another video.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about Wario Tilt, but the Switch has an accelerometer and everything, so you can sit there and do tilt controls, and it's worked on quite a few of the puzzle temples in Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I can only imagine what a Kirby game would be, including that.
Just say you got two Joy-Cons. What if they make a Kirby game where you're controlling two Kirbys?
That wouldn't be too different than Mass Attack. Go ahead, Gray Mouse. Oh yeah,
and the fact that he keeps showing up in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I think, you know what, he's pretty much a mainstay in Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. So yeah, he's going to be there. It's kind of like other characters that have been thrown in there. They just aren't going to go away. And you know, it's really a testament to the game and the character and the creative people behind it that they've been able to go ahead and create. They've made the most indescript amorphous puffball one of the most notable characters in all the world. Okay. And to the point that, you know, it's 25 years later, people are still playing his games. People are still talking about him as a character, you know. With that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this one to a close right now. Thank you very much for watching us all the way to the end, folks. If you're so kind, hit comment on it, hit like, hit subscribe. Happy 25th anniversary, Kirby. You know, thank you for the great games and everything else. If you guys are ready, we can go ahead and raise a drink to it.
Yes.
Happy 25th.
Happy 25th, Kirby.
25 more, please.
25 more years of great games. Nintendo Switch. Balls in your court.
Indeed.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. That'll be taken care of.
Yep. I'm pretty sure it will. With that, we are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we've been bullshitting about Kirby, the most overpowered amorphous pink puffball in video game history. But guess what? He's never been in a bad game. For the last 35 minutes or so, I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. 25 years of Kirby. Damn it. 25 more good games. Please. Credits.